All right, this is part 5 of my 2023 NFL record predictions, and in this one, we've got the AFC South, finally moving on to the AFC. But starting with this one, I've got the Colts finishing fourth in this division with a record of 3-14. I'm obviously not a big fan of this team. We know Anthony Richardson is starting week 1. Honestly, he has pretty nice weapons. Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Isaiah McKenzie, they brought him from Buffalo. Jonathan Taylor, that was a whole story. He was going to be getting traded, and he didn't end up getting traded because he doesn't have that. He's not comfortable with the contract situation. He's out for the first 4 weeks on the PUP list. And honestly, I don't think he's going to be playing another snap for the Colts. I think he's going to be holding out until he gets traded. And if he doesn't, I mean, maybe he does play, but he may not even play for the entire season. But I think he will be traded by the trade deadline, maybe even by the time his 4 weeks are up on the pup list. But other than that Jonathan Taylor situation, the offense is honestly pretty nice. The problem is Anthony Richardson. I mean, seeing him play in preseason, I know it doesn't mean much, but even in college, the accuracy was a big concern. The reason why he was such a high pick, I think drafted fourth overall, fourth to the Colts, is just he's a freak athlete. I mean, if he can reach his ceiling at the next level in the NFL, he may be one of the best players of all time, but the problem is that, he's such a project that the first couple years of his career may be a bit slow, and that's the reason I have the Colts finishing 3-14. But going over to the defense, DeForest Buckner, Shaq Leonard, Kenny Moore in that secondary, I mean, it's not even that bad of a unit, because just a couple years ago, I actually thought the Colts would be Super Bowl contenders with Carson Wentz, and obviously that was a big mistake. Even with Matt Ryan, I thought they would be, at least an AFC contender, but we know how that turned out. They were at best a wild card team and didn't even make the playoffs some of those years. But either way, in this one, I think with Anthony Richardson being in his rookie season, I don't think it's going to go too smoothly. I have the Colts finishing 3-14. Third in this division, I have the Houston Texans finishing 6-11. I don't think that they're going to be as good as a lot of people are hyping them up to be. But of course, the Texans made a lot of big moves this offseason, and basically, I'm just talking about the draft. Drafting a franchise quarterback and then also drafting a franchise defensive player with back-to-back picks with the second and third overall. But also in free agency, they made some nice moves that I'm a fan of basically all of them. On offense, they brought in Robert Woods, Dalton Schultz, Devin Singletary. On defense, I talked about it in the NFC West video with the Niners. I thought Jimmy Ward was a really big loss to the 49ers, and he's a pretty huge addition to the Texans now, reuniting with DeMeco Ryans, who that's obviously now their head coach. I think that he's going to be able to make something happen. He was a former linebacker for them being drafted there. He won Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year with Houston. And that's kind of what I think Will Anderson's going to do. I'm kind of, releasing one of my NFL award predictions, which will come out soon. I think that Will Anderson can make a huge impact right away. I think that he will win Defensive Rookie of the Year. But still, I mean, other than, Jimmy Ward and Will Anderson, that defense is a bit iffy. Same with the offense, but same with the Colts, just like the Colts with, rookie quarterback starting week 1. I think CJ Stroud will have his moments. I think he will have his flashes. But even going back to preseason, I know it's just preseason, but just like I think he'll do in the regular season, he showed his flashes, but he showed, that he's also a rookie quarterback. He's going to make a lot of mistakes this year. And I think that the offense isn't going to be too fast, of course, coming out of the gate. And I think the Texans will finish with 6 wins this season. Maybe they can surprise some people with DeMeco Ryans. But I think that their ceiling is around 7, maybe even 8 wins. But I'd say 7-10 is their ceiling. 6-10, 6-11 is my official record prediction for them. Second in the division, I have the Tennessee Titans, of course, as a lot of people could probably predict. Finishing with a record of 8-9, though. I think that is basically their ceiling. No, I'd put their ceiling at 9-8. But, their quarterback situation is iffy. Ryan Tannehill is the starter. But on the depth chart, it shows that Malik Willis is the backup quarterback and Will Levis is the third stringer. We'll see how that pans out, throughout the season. If Tannehill struggles, they know that they have 2 young quarterbacks who are, on the bench that are ready to go. I don't know if they're going to be ready to play good, but, we'll see what happens. When Malik Willis had his chances last season, it didn't go too well. That's why he dropped in the draft last year tremendously. Their defense is mid. That's kind of how it was last year. They improved it a bit. They had Sean Murphy-Bunting and Al Shair something. The linebacker from San Fran. But still, it doesn't add much. Mike Vrabel, is the reason I have them winning 8. Oh, I also forgot to mention DeAndre Hopkins, of course, and we know Derrick Henry is already on that offense. DeAndre Hopkins is going to add a lot to that team. But I still don't see the Niners. I still don't see the Titans being contenders in this division because the Jags are obviously there. I have them finishing 11-6, being the 4 seed, quickly finishing with Tennessee though. Mike Vrabel, I think, wins them games single handedly. He's one of, if not the best. I'd put him as a top 3 coach, top 5 at least though. He's not the best coach in the NFL, but he's definitely up there. And he just basically moves the floor of this team around to 7-10, I'd say. So I don't see them finishing below that. I also don't see them finishing a lot above 500, maybe slightly at 9-8, but I don't see them finishing 10-7. But now, like I said, moving on to the Jags, having them finishing 4th in the AFC with the record of 11-6. A lot of people are saying that this could be Trevor Lawrence's MVP season. Maybe it is. They're adding Calvin Ridley, as we know, coming back from that suspension. They traded for him randomly at the trade deadline last year from from Atlanta. So we'll see what he's able to do this year. The training camp clips that we've seen have been looking really good. Same with him in the preseason. He's playing really good. So you're adding that to Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram in that offense. Trevor Lawrence may have a really good year once again. We know the coach that Doug Peterson was and what he turned Trevor Lawrence into when he came along last year. And the defense is good. It's nothing special, but it's still very capable. That's why they won a playoff game last year, and coming back from 27 down isn't an easy thing to do. So, this Jags team is going to be really fun to watch this year. I don't think that they're at the capability to finish number 1 in the AFC, like some people are putting that bold prediction out there. I have them finishing 4th in the AFC. Like I said, it's the worst division winner. But I wouldn't be surprised if they competed with Buffalo or Kansas City or Cincinnati or one of those teams in the AFC. So I'm excited to see what this team can do this year. I think that we'll see them hosting another playoff game this year because this division is really, really light. But either way, that'll wrap up with the AFC. Finally, time to get through to the 3 divisions I've been waiting for with the AFC East, North, and West. But either way, that'll wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. Peace.